Hi class, this is Neil, and this is lesson 3 of Unit 10 on conditional probability. In this lesson, we're going to look at two-way tables, and we're going to use that to try to determine if two events are independent eventually. First, let's just review some information about Venn diagrams and what we've learned about unions and intersections. So we'll start at the top left corner. So here we're told that the probability of A is 0.45. And we're not sure what the probability of B is. Using the Venn diagram though, we're going to figure out what is the probability of this portion of the Venn diagram. How do we determine the probability of B? And then what is the probability of the union? So first of all, I know that the whole probability of that left circle, so including that 0.10 or 1/10, is 0.45. So that means that what's left here has to be 0.35. Because 0.35 and 0.10 or 1/10 add up to 0.45. Now, probability of B, well, this is 0.10, this is 0.20 or 1/10 and 2/10, so altogether that is 3/10 or 0.30. In fact, maybe we should show it like that. Now, the probability of the union, to find that, I'm just going to add these three portions up. So that's 0.35 plus 1/10 plus 2/10, which is 0.65. That's the probability of the union. All right, so let's move on to this next one. We're told the probability of A is 0.5. So if this entire circle is equal to 5/10, then I know this portion, the intersection, plus this portion has to add up to 5/10, meaning this is 0.2. Okay, so again, if this entire portion here is 0.8, I know that this portion plus this portion has to add up to 8/10, so this has to be 5/10. So the probability of the union, I'm just going to add these three pieces together. So 2/10 plus 3/10 plus 5/10, well, that's 1 whole. All right, for this next one, so we're told that the probability of A is 0.82, and the entire probability of B is 0.65. Now we're given this portion here. So 4/10 is equivalent to this portion of the circle. So to find out what that intersection is, I know that 0.82 is equal to 0.4 plus whatever the intersection is there. So that means that intersection has to be 0.42. Let me erase this so maybe it's a little clearer. Now, for this portion of the circle, I know that 0.42 plus this portion has to equal 0.65. So to find it, I would just do 0.65 minus 0.42, and that's going to be, 0.23. Now, the probability of the union is what's going to happen if we add those three pieces together. So that would be 4/10 plus 0.42 plus 0.23 and that's going to be 1.05. All right, so for this next one, we're told that A is 100 and B is 80. Well, if that's the case, if what's in the intersection here is 20, I know that this portion has to be 80 in order to add up to 100. This portion has to be 60. And so the union is what happens when all that's added together. So 80 plus 20 plus 60 is 160. Okay, so for this one here, I know that set A is 70, so 20 plus 50 gives me 70. Set B is what is then in this intersection and in just B, so that would be 80. And now the union of those two, we don't really need the probability, is 70 plus 30, or 100. Okay, finally, probability of A is 0.45. Well, that means that the intersection here, in order to equal that, would have to be 0.15. Now I know the probability of that whole union is 0.86. So I know that 0.86 is equal to 3/10 plus 0.15 plus something. So that's 0.86 is equal to 0.45 plus that something. So that means this has to be altogether 0.41. And if this whole thing is 0.41, to find just this portion, I would do 0.41 minus 0.15, and that would be 0.26. Okay, that's it for the review.